having an overall context that resonates for you. That's the context that I'm personally offering that resonates for me. And then having a practice, a daily practice that works for you, where you go inward and be with yourself, and be with yourself being one with the source of life, as opposed to your conceptual self.
So there's a difference, is there a difference between like rolling and rocking and being with yourself that way than just meditating?
It would depend on what works for you. So like what works for you, and again, this is why I keep speaking to that in a container that's based in being in the eternal being that you are, each day is a different day. Each resource changes and shifts according to that day. Just like in this moment, you've had probably 3 different breaths and not one of them were the same. One had a shorter inhale and a longer exhale. It's always different. So I look at life that way. So if the rocking and swaying is giving you that resource of moving those energies to draw you deeper into yourself, to be in health and vitality in your body and in your life, then it works for you. It's just like, that's creation. It's in the moment. It's all unfolding in the moment. Yeah. And if a sitting practice works for you, and it's not becoming a form of control, and it's actually working for you, then it's great. Whatever works. It's not about that's the whole thing. It's not about the tools. This is the problem that we're dealing with, is that we think that the tools are God. We think that the fluid system is God. We think that, the breath is God. And then it becomes all about the breath, and it becomes all about the fluid system. And if you're not in the fluid system, you're not doing this breath, then you're not in God. And obviously we know that doesn't work. So...
for me, it's about the fear of abundance. In Hawaii, I knew that we had 9.5 days to be with each other, and here I'm finding it very hard to embrace what I did embrace in Hawaii, and I get there and I see little snippets, and these little snippets of the most beautiful landscapes and the most beautiful places, and the feeling comes, and then it goes with each exhale, and it's I'm fearful of all that joy and all that abundance that's there and letting it in.
The whole thing is that if you can sit with yourself,
yeah,
we're not alone. We're never alone. We're completely alone. As in alone, all one. But we're never alone. You always have love for you here. And if the fear of abundance, as though it's outside of you, as though you have to let it in. That's not you that's thinking that. That's not really you. That's the defense structure. That's the ego thought system of separation. So the moment that you can recognize that thought system is just a thought system, that we've built an entire culture, an entire world out of, it's all a dream in that way. As soon as you're willing to look at that and go, so that's not me, I'm actually whole, I'm actually complete, I can slow myself down layer by layer and just land in that. The idea of abundance for the defense structure, are we all on the same page with this? Okay, so the idea of abundance for the thought system of separation, it is as though you're going to explode. It is as though it's enlightenment or awakening is going to be this thing that you can't even handle. And there have been, over the years, people have come into this process and they've been in other processes where it was so about being overstimulated and having these huge, universal, things, and that it would blow their systems out. And I would be the one that would be holding that nervous system, saying it's going to be okay if you can just get, through this idea that you needed to be blown to bits. and that you needed to be overstimulated to feel the source of life, as though the source of life is something that is too much for you. That's all conceptual. And so it's like being struck by lightning. You know, it's just, that's all coming from the idea of separation. So this is why I keep saying that the foundation of a practice is resting. It's resting in what is eternally there. And the truth is that the reason why it's a resting is because it's the truth. It's where it is that you really are. And why else, why wouldn't you relax into it? Do you see what I'm saying? It's a little hard to put into words, but it's like, of course you would relax because it's the truth. It's what you really are. It's not something that's going to blow you out. It's not something that's going to pull you out and create a bunch of fear. That's not the truth. So as soon as we establish that reference point, without that reference point, it's just one story after another.
Could I add one thing?
Sure.
When you're doing it alone and you get into that space that's scary, you don't get up in that moment and walk away because you're kind of shattered. You just stay, like you say, in it. It will evolve eventually. I mean, even here, it evolves into a calmer place. You just have to stay with it, with the process, if you're doing a dive or whatever your practice is.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. I can speak to that, and then I think it would be good for us to head into diving. When I first started working with my defense structure directly, I was having long periods of resting in the eternal and resting in what I would prefer to as God.